What did we cover last week?
Light,
Huh?
light,
The light? All right. Anything else?
darkness.
Darkness? You're kidding me. Well, you got to tell because Roger and Robert wasn't here. They didn't know, so you had to fill them in.
Yeah, we watched it in the dark.
Poof.
Good answer.
Did you turn the lights off at the house as soon as
No,
it
and we just sitting there watching the dark screen. We kept saying, "There's something wrong with my TV."
Yeah, what happened? I got sound, but I don't have no picture. That's rough, ain't it? Oh, anything else we covered last week? We did talk about the darkness. We talked about the light. We talked about how that both darkness and light was created by God. The requirements of walking in the light. And then we talked about the lamp. What did we learn about the lamp?
Gotta be trimmed.
Huh? Gotta be trimmed. What else? What did we learn about the lamp?
Gotta have a connection to it.
Okay. Huh?
Got the oil in the vessel.
There has to be a source of fuel for the light or for the wick to burn, as we talked about last week. And we're going down a different path tonight as we're still in January of 2026. There's not a whole lot of it left, but we are still in January of 2026. So I'm going to challenge you with a word first. This one's always a good one. No one is guilty of this, so we all can feel free.
Yeah.
Okay? But I want you to tell me in your own words, what does this word mean?
Put something on.
Procrastination.
Chris very quickly responded to putting something off.
Wait,
Huh?
wait until the last.
Wait until the last minute. What else? What else can you think about that defines the word procrastination or to procrastinate? Anybody else got anything to add to this word procrastination that you can think of? If we model the meaning of this word and what it defines, it's actually pretty interesting because it really labels some very specific things that we probably don't think about when we practice the art of procrastination. I used to work with a person, and we would go into the hospital, and she would go in, we'd go in the room, and if she was with me, she might give the report. And one night we delivered a baby in a house. I'll never forget this. And we're standing in Kingsport and Holston Valley, and she's telling them all about it. And when we walked out of the room, I don't remember what it was about the call, but there was something on this call where we delivered this baby, something that she didn't tell him. I don't remember what it was. And so when I come out of the room, I asked her, I said, "Did you tell him so-and-so?" And she said, "No." Just like that, just real good. I said, "Are you going to tell him?" She said, "Yeah, I'm going to tell him right when we get ready to leave." Just like that. I don't remember what it was, but it was something that's going to make them work a lot harder, whatever the situation was. And so she always had the gift of omission. She left out some things that she wanted to leave out, and that was her gift. She had the gift of omission. She was very good at leaving some things out. Not a procrastinator, but she had the gift of omission. If we look at procrastination, this is the most interesting part is the act of unnecessarily delaying or postponing something despite knowing that there could be negative consequences for doing so. It is a common human experience involving delays in everyday chores or even putting off tasks such as attending an appointment, submitting a job report or academic assignment. That's Haley and Dylan over here. Or broaching a stressful issue with a partner. It's often perceived as a negative trait due to its hindering effect on one's productivity, associated with depression, low self-esteem, guilt, and feelings of inadequacy. Has anybody in here in the last 16 days procrastinated? That you know of?
Morning.
Huh? Every morning. Okay. Every morning. So I thought about the fact of how easy it is to always have the mentality that we get into and we deal with this stuff. But how easy is it to get in our minds of, oh, I'll probably just wait and maybe do it tomorrow. I'm gonna just probably wait, and I don't have to do that right now. So probably just gonna wait, and I'm gonna let it do tomorrow. There's a man that lives not far from the church here, and he went up here to the what used to be the BP station up here going into the gap, and he pulled his truck up and told him that it wasn't running right. And he said, "Could you all check it for me?" This has been recent. And he went up there and they pulled it up on the rack, and they said, "Well, while you got it up there, if you don't care, can you change the oil?" And they said, "Yeah." Well, a few minutes they come out from the bays into the front lobby area of the gas station up there, and I asked him, said, "Sir, when's the last time you had the oil changed?" He said, "I'm not real sure." He said, "I've had to put it off." He said, "I'm not real sure." And they said that when they took the drain plug out, nothing come out of it. And they took their finger up and around it was just like mud in the oil pan. And they figured out that this man potentially drove almost 30,000 miles or more and never changed the oil. There was none in the pan. Thus he pulled in saying, I need to get you all to check this. It's not running right. There's something wrong. Something's not right at all. And when they went in there and asked him, they asked him, "How long has it been since you changed it?" He said, "Well, I'm not really sure. I've had to put it off a little while. And so I'm not really sure." But they got it somehow back down to the fact that about 30,000 miles ago, he had an oil change. And the effect cost him some serious money. I don't know what all it did to the vehicle, the truck, but it had to have some work done. But that simple thing, now you just think about it. It's so easy to think about what all you need to do sometime. It's not a have to do it right now, but you need to do sometime. How easy it is just to say that, well, it can wait, or I can do that tomorrow. I'll put that off, wait, and do that tomorrow. When you walk up, this is a common one that we use. How many people says, "I'm going to do them later"? I'm cooked, I'm tired, I've eaten, Roger says he does it, and I'm going to do them later.
Oh, we got 3 or 4 pieces.
Well, so that's it. But, you think about, now just think about this for a minute. I want to put this in your mind. It's almost like the mentality of telling yourself, "I'll do it tomorrow," automatically puts in the mind some type of state of thinking that the dirty dishes seem to vanish, or the hard conversations you don't want to have seem to disappear, and the email that you got of something you've got to do to deal with work seems to not be there because I'm not going to deal with that till tomorrow. And then the project you need to get done around the house or something else you've been meaning to do and need to do, they just seem to sit there patiently, and they're just still holding on. And all the undesirables, we'll call them, that's the things a lot of people put off, and they just hold them in the fog until tomorrow. And then we'll be ready tomorrow to deal with it. I'll deal with it tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be ready. But the problem is, then tomorrow gets here, and the flame of motivation is gone. It's just like, I might just wait till lunch. I'm going to run to the store or go to the trash. I'm going to take the trash off first, then I'll come back and do that. There is a part of us that makes things okay. And then we get into a part of us that just makes these things seem to vanish. But we could take care of these things right now. We're right here. We see the dishes. We know they're here. We could take care of our responsibility now. But why would we do that when there's always tomorrow? Now, Karen worked at the bank. What would you all do if you went to the bank to deposit money? She says, "I'll take care of it tomorrow. I'm going to put it in my drawer right there, and I'll count it tomorrow and put it in your account." What would you say? What would the customer say to you, Karen, if you told them that? What would you think they'd say?
They would take their business elsewhere, probably.
Well, they probably would. But see, that responsibility is a today thing. We've separated that today. So, if she tried to do that and just say, if I get to it tomorrow, I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you tomorrow.
I have told people when they come in, they'll ask for something. I said, we don't do that on whatever day of the week it was.
Yeah.
Really?
But in that thinking puts us into a position that we start getting okay with that. We start getting really comfortable with, I'll do that sometime later. I'm not going to do it right now. It's okay. I'll do it later. I'll deal with it. Well, if we start just Bible starting here for just a moment, and I'm going to put this in your mind for a minute, and Proverbs is where I'm going to go first. First thing that is mentioned in Proverbs 24:30 is speaking of the slothful, and by the vineyard of the man void of understanding. And lo, it was all grown over with thorns and nettles, and had covered the face thereof, and the stone wall thereof was broken down. And then in Proverbs 13, he even writes on and says, the soul of the sluggard desireth, and hath nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. He knows by well-worn experience that, and I want you to think about it this way, no unwelcome tasks become any less unwelcome by putting it off till tomorrow. No unwelcome tasks become any less unwelcomed by putting it off till tomorrow. And we still try a way to do it over and over and over. Procrastination is pretty natural to us in a lot of ways. And when we look at things that we go through, and we look at things that we deal with, if I am so comfortable with putting off just simple tasks and simple chores and simple things, then how easy is it for you when the Spirit says, do this, that you say, now's not a good time. I'm not ready. I'm not strong enough to deal with that. I don't know enough about the Bible to answer the questions. I'm not ready to face that. And we immediately give the same comfortable answers to our normal daily tasks we give back to the requests that are given to us day in and day out. Now, if we take time as what it really is, and I just want you to think about it this way for a minute, as far as worrying or anything else, God calls for us to live in a 24-hour boundary. You ever thought about it like that? That God calls for us to live in a 24-hour boundary, and that is called today. That's what we are supposed to be dealing with, is today. And then anything else that we're dragging over into tomorrow and next week, next year, I'll give the great feeling that it's going to make Chris and Courtney and them feel great that, Callie in, 10 years is going to be sitting in college, in Nebraska probably, or somewhere, Just the thought. Huh? Well, I hope so, but you never know when the mind goes crazy and she thinks she wants to go to Nebraska. So, all these things are sitting out there, and our mind ponders on it, and we ponder on it, and enough distraction and time is lost. And then the other things that are going on today, we get in our minds that we're going to wait on that. I'm going to do that later. I'm going to put it off tomorrow. When in fact, that we are told, simply commanded, that we live within a 24-hour boundary that is called today. Called today. This is the day that the Lord has made. And what did David say? And be glad in it. Not worried about what tomorrow brings. We're not pondering what tomorrow is and what it brings. Now, there are a few other things, I'll show you for just a minute. There's a few other things that completely stops and trumps us in dealing with some things that we should not be procrastinating in. Here's one of the easy ones, Ephesians 4. That you can get angry and sin not, but don't let the sun go down on your wrath, neither give place to the devil. So, putting off the issues till tomorrow is not what we're taught to do. Putting off and dealing with problems tomorrow is not the answer of what we are taught to do. How many times do you know people say, and I've heard this said, I've known people, I've got to cool down before I go talk to them. You heard that before? Or I gotta calm down for a little while before I go talk to them. That's an easy example of procrastination by the Bible, of how we practice what we do. And you'll see some things here in just a minute. Matthew 5. This is another easy example about procrastination. So somebody that's offending you, you first go to leave your gift on the altar. You first be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. Here it is. Agree with thine adversary quickly. Quickly. We're back to that time constraint of dealing with it when it happens. Dealing with it when an issue arises. The first thing that the Bible teaches us in Matthew 5 is quickly. How soon is quickly?
Right now.
Right now? You think about it. How soon is quickly really mean? Bible says quickly. How soon is that? I'll give us another example in James 4. Here's your one. Where he says, go to now ye that say, today or tomorrow we will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain. Whereas you know not what shall be on the morrow, for what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for a little time and then vanish away. For that ye ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. See, we're everything is holding to us today. Everything that you are given is given in the very moment of right now. You can't back up and do anything that you've already done in the past and change it. You can't back up time. You can't move time forward and do something into the future. None of us have the power and ability to do that. So because of that, you are stuck in the very presence of being in living of right now. And when we look at procrastinating or putting something off, it is very common that we start relaxing those habits into other things that we find in our lives. I'll give us another example of some teaching on procrastination for a moment. In Luke chapter 9, there's some verses in Luke chapter 9. Now, they come to a certain city and or come to a village, and when they did, a certain man said unto him, Lord, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. And Jesus said unto him, foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. And he said unto another, follow me. But he said, Lord, suffer me first go and bury my father. And Jesus said unto him, let the dead bury their dead, but go thou and preach the kingdom of God. And another also said, Lord, I will follow thee, but let me first go bid them farewell which are at home at my house. And Jesus said unto him, no man, having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of God. Here we have two more examples, very examples right here in front of us, of two more examples of procrastination. And neither response in this example right here in Luke 9 tells us of any effort that this was approved of. We'll use the words. So there are some things if you lose, as of right now in this room, I'm going to give you a list of things just to think about. If you lose any of these possibilities right here, there is a pretty decent chance that you can get these back. If you've ever lost your keys somewhere, did anybody ever lose keys and never find them? Rick's done it. Have you lost your wallet, never found it? No, you done that? But most of these items, if you look at them, just most of these general items I made a list of, if you lose them, there's a decent possibility, a good chance that you're going to get it back sometime. And it's probably going to be in a place you wasn't ever thinking it was. Or you've been walked by about 5 times and it was right there the whole time. But all these things, look at that, how vast that list right there really is. There's all kinds of everything right there. That if you lost it, there's potential to get it back. Here's the complication with procrastination. We don't realize how much we're doing harm when we do this, because the one thing that we can't do anything to get back is time. You can't get time back. Time does not come back. It's gone. It's behind us. There is no getting time back. You can lose a lot of things, and there's good chances you'll get it back or replaced, but you won't get time, and it won't be back. A study was done. Let's go back to Luke for just a second. Let me show you this. In Luke chapter 9, where we were just at, this is one of the saddest stories, if you ever really think about it, that Scripture has found in these words right here. This is really one of the saddest stories. Because in these, now let's just look at this right here. In 61, primarily, look at that verse. Lord, I will follow thee. But first, let me go back and say bye to my family. Nowhere is it recorded in the Gospels or anywhere else in the Bible that he followed Jesus. You ever thought about that? It's not recorded anywhere. After he said, I will follow thee, but let me first go bid them farewell which are at home in my house. Nowhere is it recorded in the Bible that he followed Jesus. Procrastination and perfectionism, they go hand in hand. Some people says, if I can't do it right, I won't do it at all. And the problem is, before you get it right, you'll probably get it wrong. That's how you learn to do it right the next time. If you fail a test and they allow a retest, what are you attempting to do? You're trying to get a correct answer the second time that you miss on the first time. Remediation is what they call it in school. So we see how much putting things off affects us, but one of the worst things to have said is, I'll follow you, but first let me go tell my family goodbye. And then, by recording in the Bible, there's no record that he ever followed him. No record that he ever did it. At Yale University, they did a study, and the graduating seniors at Yale were told of the dangers of tetanus. And they gave the opportunity through a grant to get a free vaccination at their health center. And the first group of seniors that they taught the information to, they were very convinced that they needed the shot. And how many of you think followed through? How many of you think actually went and got the shot? 3% went and got it. The second group came in, they were given the same lecture of information, and they were given a copy of the campus map with the location of the health center of where they could go get the shot. Then they were asked, while in the room, to look at their schedule and figure out when they could find time to go get their shot. And you know that 9 times as many people in that group went and got the vaccination. So, provingly in their study, they proved that good intentions were not enough. Good intentions of doing something totally, 3% of the entire group of seniors, 3% of them, after all of them being convinced and agreeing they need to do it, 3% went and done it. Second group, given a map to find it and told to check your schedule and see when you can get it done. Let's get it set. Made the appointment. 9 times more that wanted to get it did it the second time, because the intentions is not enough. So we, in our lives, just knowing what we know about procrastination tonight, we have an obvious problem going on in everybody's lives that deal with procrastination. Here's the first question tonight. How do we deal with the problem of procrastination? How do we deal with it and correct it? What do y'all think? How do we correct it?
If you see it needs to be done, do it.
Get it done. How many people can't stand to let something go without being done? They have to do it right now. That's the OCD people. Courtney's one of them. I mean, they just cannot, they can't. If Courtney goes to bed and it's still not done, she's probably going to get up and go do it. She can't sleep and get off her mind, so she's got to go do it. But how do we fix this problem? How do we correct what we're continually putting off? Things we keep putting off that we don't deal with, we don't do, we don't fix. And I'm not just talking about simple home repairs and the dirty dishes and vacuuming and laundry. That's where it starts. Our natural man-made instinct habits start, but then they carry right over into our daily lives and our other actions and how we deal with everything else, our family, friends, the Lord, everything. How do we deal with it?
Let them dishes soak, it'll be easier to clean tomorrow.
See, now Rick's put some thought into this procrastination. Rick said to let them soak. That way they'll be easier to clean tomorrow. If we look at a few things, and I got to looking into the procrastination because that's the first problem we have is we know it needs to be done. We know there's something we're supposed to be doing. There's things that we're being led to do. If you are a child of God and in any level of a relationship with Him, there has to be communication. There has to be some form of communication. If you are communicating with God any whatsoever, lamp unto my feet, a light unto my path, that I may hide its words in my heart, that I may not sin. Well, the Bible says to know the good and doeth it not, to him it is a sin. Okay, so procrastination, I just thought a lot about this week, that putting off all this stuff that we don't address and deal with and we let it go, we're really going in our ways against the Lord and what we're told and led to do. Now, if you don't wash your clothes and you want to wear them 5 times before you do it, that's on you. That's fine. We'll know it in a little while. But it's the same spiritually in your life that if you don't address and deal with the problems in your life, guess what? Anybody can know and see, because what happens? What happens?
Show me when you.
Yeah, there's a common word that is known in churches, not many, but there's a common word that's known in some churches that people are classified as when they back up. What is that called?
Backslide.
Backsliding. Is it in your Bible?
Yep.
Yeah. Where at?
Jeremiah.
Huh?
3:14.
What is that?
I mean,
Oh, backsliding children, mine.
Y'all just tell me example. Is it in your Bible? Do you got anything in the back
I
that
don't remember the rest. It says something about backsliding. That's all
Okay.
I remember.
I don't have my other Thompson chain here. Steve may have it on the newer one, but it actually has it in the chain, a study reference to backsliding. It is actually biblically referenced, and if I can find my first part of this, I could tell you if it's in this one. But it biblically is referenced in the Bible of backsliding. Well, that condition comes by several different things, but what is commonly the cause of backsliding? Anybody know?
laziness.
Okay. There's the word laziness. That means we have done what? We've put something off?
3:14.
Huh? 3:14. We've put something off somewhere that has caused us. I don't know if it's in this one right here or not. I don't see it. I'm looking right quick just to make sure. No, that isn't. It's in the new Thompson chain in the reference. But we get to that from a form of laziness that we have gotten to and created. All of what we learn when we stare at some unwelcome task and feel no strength to do it, we can forget that God often gives strength only in a certain time and condition. I'll give you some Bible references. Now, this next Bible reference, I apologize because it will not blow my text up any bigger on this one for some reason. But one of the things I want you to learn about when God's willing to give strength, if you notice in Joshua 3:13, that the waters of the Jordan were cut off and receded, and the water standed for them to pass over. But when did the waters part? As soon as the soles of the feet of the priests that bear the ark of the Lord of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of Jordan. Until they moved forward and put their feet at the river, the waters kept going by. See, procrastination is you could stand there and hold the Ark of the Covenant all day long, but until the soles of their feet hit the water ain't rolling back. You go on down to Luke 17, this is a common one, where the 10 lepers were there, and they lifted up their voice and said, "Have mercy on us." And when he saw them, he said, "Go show yourselves unto the priest." And as they went, they were cleansed. See, God gives us strength in doing. Paul said not to get weary in well doing. But God gives you strength in doing. Because until they went, there was no cleansing. They were lepers, still calling out for the Lord to have mercy on them. Until they got up and went, there was no healing. Another easy one to look at is in Exodus 12. Now, this is when the children of Israel are in bondage in Egypt, and the death angel's about to pass over, and they get instructed of a very specific way that this is to go over. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with the purtenance thereof. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. Here you go. And thus shall ye eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. Well, my first question tonight, while we're on this, we got instructed here of how the Passover meal is to be done. We also got that you're going to eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and eat it in haste. What does haste mean?
Fast, quick.
Quickly. You're going to eat it quickly. Now, this is a question I got for y'all tonight. Can any of y'all answer this? How do you gird up your loins? There's a good question right here. How do you gird up your loins? We may practice this sometime in church and see what everybody does. How do you do it? How do you gird up your loins? Huh? We're supposed to be girding up with truth. If a man in biblical days, in the Passover setting, the children are in Egypt in bondage, and the angel instructed them to gird their loins, what would they have done to do that? How would that went? What would they have done? Anybody know? How would they have girded up their loins? What do you think? How would they have done it?
Yes.
How would they have girded their loins?
Cover it up.
Okay, what do you know? Do you know how they did it? That's what I'm asking. Do you know how they girded their loins?
Okay.
Karen, have you done it? And Calmer? Anybody know?
That was binding, but I'm not sure of the process.
I looked this up just for this very reason. Now, the angel told these people, this is how you're going to fix the food, and this is how you're going to eat it. And you're not going to cook it soaked in water, and whatever's left in the morning, you got to burn it with fire. There's going to be anything left over in the morning's got to be gone. And when you eat it, you're going to have gird your loins, you're going to have your shoes on your feet, your staff in your hand, and you're going to eat it in haste, fast. Okay. This is what I found interesting when I looked that up. And I just thought the pictures tell a whole lot more. This is how to gird up your loins. Very interesting that the fact that it takes some steps. Hoist the tunic up so that all the fabric's above your knees to give you mobility. There we go. Gather all the extra material in front of you so that the back of the tunic is snug against your backside. Once the excess fabric is gathered in front of you, pull it underneath and between your legs to your rear. This feels much like a diaper. Gather half of the material in each hand, bringing it back around to the front, and then tie your 2 handfuls of material together, and you're all set, both battle and for hard labor. There is your instructions of how that they girded their loins. So, if you thought about it in desert days, or as we know what we see in biblical areas of the country, most of those people over there to avoid the wind and the sand and the everything, the sun, they have this what I call robe, but the tunic is on and it's long, and a lot of times it's dragging the ground. So to try to be ready to go and get ready to move, you got to get out of here. To do that with any haste whatsoever, you've got to get that tunic girded. You have to gird the loins to get ready to go. Now, Another example of an issue when they were instructed this was the children of of Israel in Egypt in bondage before the death angel passed over and took every firstborn son in Egypt. Okay. The next example of the same instruction from an angel in Acts 12 was when Paul was in prison. And he told Peter on the side, Peter, he smote Peter on the side and raised him up and says, arise up quickly. And his chains fell off from his hands. And the angel said unto him, gird thyself and bind on thy sandals. And so he did. And he saith unto him, cast thy garment about thee and follow me. Here's another example of putting the garment on, girded, ready, and following. Another example right here that we see in this girding. How many feel like, and I'm just going to ask this question openly, you're welcome to answer this however you want, but how many people feel right now in 2026 that we feel a shift or a change amongst churches all over the land? Are they anything like they were in 1990? Are they anything like they were in 2005? No, not a bit. Were they anything like they were in 2026? Were they like they were in 2018? That was right before COVID started. Are they like they were in 2018? No, they're not. See, something's changing. Something's happening, shifting. And one of the things that God places in, this is the first thing that came to me when I get about procrastination. Everything God instructs in the Old Testament days, if you find, was movement. He even told Elisha to go down by the brook and sit there. Well, I'll feed you. When the brook dried up, what did he tell him then? Go down to the woman with the barrel. See, movement was required. Don't put it off. Gird it, staff, get ready, eat in haste. We got to go. People get so used to being in a rut, as I'll call it, a path, that they then accept it. It just becomes acceptable to us of what we see. Now, if we are being led to move and continue down what God guides us to do, time is swiftly passing. Time is constantly changing. And you know, as much as anything else, that you cannot, Steve said this just in the last week or two, that you can't trust technology, to tell you the truth. AI can harbor anything it wants to create and tell you anything to get you to believe it. Most people can't tell truth, fact, from false, lies. They can't tell the difference. And technology has become so advanced that it's brought us into this time of falsehood. Do you know how many preachers, like real well-known preachers, AI has created them saying or preaching things, and there's videos flying everywhere of it, and it's nothing they said? It's all over the place. Stuff they never said. But it's generated it, and people are sharing it and posting it and loving it. They don't even know that what it is was never said, one, and two, it probably ain't even biblical or backed in the Bible. All the time, you think about how much you've got in a pattern. Those of you in the house, most of the time, you think about it. Let's just use your normal daily habits. You put your keys in a specific place normally. That's where you go back and get them. Well, Dylan might not, but some do. Your closet. Do you put clothes in a certain place? Shoes. You hang up clothes. Some people put their Sunday clothes separate from their work clothes, and some people put they've got a place. It's got a spot. Everything in your daily routine, you've set there in an arranged order, and it's set so much that we have adapted to be very comfortable for it. People even organize their cabinets in the kitchen a certain way. They want all this stuff in this spot, and they put the dishes in this cabinet so that when they go back and look for it, that's where it's at. We get into those habits and routines, but constantly, now put this in your mind for a minute, constantly time is passing. We can't get it back. If we lose it, we're not getting it back. Second, time is not only passing, but it is swiftly, constantly changing. There are changes that are around us day in and day out. I'll give you an easy example. Here's an easy example for you. This is an example of a change. Does anybody still go use the phone booth? The phone booth. The booth. Yeah, that was a common thing.
Do you ever even see one?
No, I don't think there is any. Middlesboro Hospital has payphones booths in the hospital still, and they work. I just, for curiosity, stuck my head in one and ain't picked it up, and it still has a dock on it, and you have to put money in. They really have two phone booths with real payphones in them.
Keep changing my card just in case.
You used to keep changing your car all the time. You was driving that long ago.
Yeah.
So, just seriously think about it for a minute, though. This is a change that came with time. Time passed, and so did time. Have you ever heard things about they'll say something about somebody and say, well, they've not got up with the times. You know, they're still watching TV with rabbit ears, or they still, whatever, but they still do that, they still do things like they did 100 years ago. They've not got up with the times. They've not caught up with the time. Well, this is one of the things that in 2000, I think it was 2002 to 2005 was when the first phones came out that were capable of taking a picture and sending it. Was between 03 and 05. That's when it became prominent technology across wireless networks that they could do that. The first thing was to take a picture. There was then in 2000, I think I read 5 or 6, that Apple's phone designer said that they were going to have a computer capable of being 30 times faster than the one that went up on the spaceship to Apollo 11, I think it was, that weighed 70 pounds. They were creating a phone with a computer in it that was 30 times faster than the 70-pound computer that went up in the spaceship Apollo 11 to Mars. Again, time, technology changed. Now, I want to ask y'all a question. Have you ever heard the fact that there are more cell phones than toothbrushes? You ever heard that?
You heard it, probably true, look,
Huh? Do what?
probably true.
Have you heard that in Ohio? No. There's more cell phones. This is true. I'm going to show you. The Mobile Marketing Association of Asia originally reported this data studying that out of 6 billion people on the planet, 4.8 have a mobile phone, while only 4.2 own a toothbrush. Now, seems far-fetched, don't it? It seems real far-fetched. There's people that will buy something even if they don't have the money to buy it, but they won't buy what they need. They'll pay. I've seen people pay. What's these new iPhones going for out the door price? 1,600. What? Yeah, 800. Some are 1,500. Yeah. And they've got to have it. They'll go buy it, but they may not even have a toothbrush. Now, that's how different a time era we're living in and we're sitting in. We're dealing. Here's one I thought was so interesting tonight when we deal with things. So, procrastination's not good, but then I found out something that was interesting. I want to ask you all this question before I tell you. First of all, have you ever looked up something on Google? I'll use Google, any search engine, but have you ever looked up something on your phone or computer that you've never searched before? You've never looked into before, but you looked something up. It came to your mind, you was curious, whatever it was. It came to your mind, and you just put it in on your phone and see what Google said. Ever done that? Everybody should say yes. They probably have done it in some form or fashion. Now, here's another question. How often are you on Google searching for something that you've never searched before? How often are we on our phones looking up how to do something or fix something or find something that we have never looked up before? How often do you think you do that? Lois was a good one. She'd get in a conversation with Siri and run down the rabbit hole on us, and we don't know what she was getting into, and wasn't she? But she'd be over asking Siri questions and of things she's never asked before that just comes to her mind. She would. How many times have you got on your phone and looked up something that you've never searched for? Never before, but you've done it. Yeah. You think about the fact that 15% of daily Google searches are for something that was never searched before. 15% of Google's searches is for something that's never been searched before. Up to these 9 billion searches a day, this equates to roughly 1 to 1.36 billion new searches every day that has never been searched. Google has never seen it brought before it. Searched. Every day. Every day. Google has now figured out that there's that many people on a search engine asking Google questions that has never been asked before. You tell me how much change is going on quickly with all the technology we have. We were just the other day taught at the hospital, we were being taught about what we are allowed to do and what we can do with the AI parts of our charting software and what we're allowed to do with it for patient care. Well, up until October of last year, we weren't allowed to do that. In October of last year, if you'd have got caught using any type of AI to do any type of patient care, you'd have been fired anywhere. It was against regulation to do that. But we were taught just in the last 6 weeks of how we're going to have it implemented into the program that does our charting. Now, how much change and occurs evolves. Technology, the phones you've got now, does things that you never would have agreed. You wouldn't have believed that was going to happen in this area if they would have told you that in 1990, 1995. You'd say, no, that's not going to happen. We're never going to see that here. You might see it in Knoxville, but you won't see it here. You know, they've got phone, internet, fiber, and cell phone service in Jonesville. Okay, that's how advanced they've got. They've got the whole network running right through the sucker because the major pipeline's right above them. How much change has went on and we've adapted to it? We have adapted to it. How many people get online and complain the minute the internet goes out? Verizon did y'all have Verizon outage in Tazewell this week? Oh, man. Well, some did. And everybody knew about it. Everybody had a seizure because there was no cell phone service for a period of time the other day. That is how adaptive we have become to modifying ourselves and our daily lives and habits and routines to what is around us. And the more distraction that the world can put in our face or in our lives, we want to say, the greater we are likely to procrastinate. I'll give you an example. Not praying like you should. You lose that time. There is no getting that back. Not witnessing to people, and is another easy example. Not witnessing to people. That is another time that you're never getting back. How much time do we really waste? And I'm going to use that word waste. How much effort and time do we really waste in all the things we're involved in all week long that don't even matter? It don't even matter. As a matter of fact, if you look at it from a backward perspective, looking behind you, you'll really figure out it was a waste in itself. People, we've looked at studies and we've looked at things before where people spend 5 hours a day on their phone. Up to 3 hours of that is on Facebook. How much is on Facebook that's going to really help you? That's one of the good questions I've got. How much is on there that's really helping you? There's a bunch of junk and drama and mouth and everything else on there, but how much is on that thing that's really helping you? How much is on the TV that is really helping us to get things done? That's my question, to get things done. Because as quickly as you look over your life, you know, for Roger, he was just 5 years old a few days ago. Time just gone like that. He spent 35 years at GM. How long was you at Ford?
32.
Does it feel like it? No? Went by just like that. Because you all adapted to that schedule and that change. Healthcare people, it's a different animal than normal other jobs because it's an adaptation. We adapt so much to our environment, what we're around, and how things come into our lives that we start offering acceptance to procrastinate. I've got to get this done. I don't have a choice. I got to do it. I won't be at church this Sunday. We're going to do this, whatever. We'll be back next week. Next Sunday rolls around. What happens? Don't see it. We don't see it. Because procrastination has started creating an acceptance for us to say, it's okay. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll wait and do it tomorrow. And the thought come to my mind, we had a patient this week that passed away in the hospital, and they asked for a chaplain's call to be done. And when I did the rounds and I went up there, I was going to wait and go right after I got done with work at the office. And then on my way to work that morning, the Lord said, no, you need to go right now. I went up there to that room, and probably 30 minutes after I left, they were dead. They died. They passed away. That quick. Now what effect has if we procrastinate and we don't do what we're being told to do, or we don't do what we're being led to do or shown to do? The Bible says that now is the acceptable time. Today is the what?
Day of salvation.
Yeah, it's now. Everything you're given is not promised past now. If you put it off and God's gave it to you, here's the way I look at it. I'm going to give it this way. The way I look at that is procrastination. God's already promised us things. If God has created the promise, then he's done manifested the means for it. And if God makes a promise, he don't break it. If you put it off, then you're the one that is lacking the promise. You are not taking heed and haste to do what God tells us to do. A lot of times, the worst disobedience is doing nothing at all. Sitting, lazy, not doing anything, procrastinating. I can do that later. I will go visit so-and-so and go see them later. They just got home from the hospital. I'm going to wait a few weeks and then try to get over there and go see them. A few weeks comes by, what happens? We don't go. I'm going to call him. I'm going to call him later this evening when I get home. I'm going to try to make sure and check on him. Tomorrow, about 2 o'clock in the day, it hits your brain. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to call him. Procrastination creates a habit in us that is so bad that it then becomes something we accept from everything else going on around us, when the Bible teaches completely away from it. So anybody that's put their hand to the plow, if you have a desire to work, you're on your way to heaven, and you have a desire to work because you want to see as many around you that you care about go with you, and you want to see as many around you that you really worry about, you want to have an effect and a part of knowing that they are going to get on the right track, get in church, hear the word, get saved, whatever the case is, and you desire that because you want to work and see that done, then why are we not talking to them today? Why are we not at their door today? If we were if we believe, I put it this way, and I don't think people think it this serious. If we really believe the Lord is coming back and it could be right now, we can't believe that because we're not out there telling our family, you've got to get it. You've got to have this to get to heaven with me and where I'm. If you want to be with me, you've got to have this. We're not doing that. We're very relaxed, and there'll come a time when I get to do that. There'll come a time, that is our procrastination, and it's really killing people if you want to put it in the right way. That is the soul murder, so to speak, of what if they die before you ever went, knowing the whole time that the knock on your heart was to go see that person, go sit down and talk to them, tell them one for one, word for word, just exactly what's on your heart. We're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. I give vouch credit to the Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses. All their legs are like toothpicks because they walk everywhere. But Walmart the other night, they were back out in Walmart the other night at 9:30 at night, and it was like 18 degrees, and they were going car to car, talking to people. Kudos to them. I know their whole thing was doing it. Kudos to them. But my thought came to me about that is how many people got in their car and told them, I'll get with you later. I'll do that later. Felix in the Bible was a good one. He told Paul and them that, let me have more convenient time. I'll get with you at a more convenient time before they, set out to kill and all that. And he left. But Apollos was one of the other ones. You almost persuaded me. You almost did. At least there somebody was trying to get his attention. But you think about how much procrastination has eat us to the core of not doing the things that run across us. And you can't say every now and then that some people come to your mind, even you go to church with, if you've not seen them for a period of time, and that face or that name or whatever runs across your mind, how easy it is to put it in the back of the mind and say, if I get a chance, I'll try to get a hold of them. If I get the chance, at the end of the week, whatever, I'll try to reach out and see what's going on, where they've been, whatever. And the end of the week comes, and what do we find? We never done it. We never done it. Procrastination always puts us in a spot the same as the one that wanted to go tell his family bye. And the Bible never records that he followed Jesus. He never recorded him doing it. So procrastination tonight is something we all need to search out and find the points in our lives that if we really believe he's coming back and soon, and the Bible plainly says soon, thief in the night, as the Bible records, don't know the day and the hour that he's coming back. If you're going to believe that tonight, how can you say you believe something that you don't show? How can you say you believe anything if we don't show it? The first and greatest commandment is to do what? Yeah. Yep. Yep. And if you really love the brother, you would have some concern about them before they're on their deathbed. And I don't mean that to say anything bad about anybody, but before they're on their deathbed. There's people comes to a hospital room. I've watched it day in and day out. And I just sit there and think how foolish they look because they come to the room to see somebody that they've not seen in 2, 3, 4 years. But now that they're on their deathbed, they're coming to see them. Where you been for 4 years? What procrastinated you for that long? Because they'll even admit, I've heard them in the room admit, man, I've been meaning to come see you. I've been meaning to get up with you. That is a common occurrence in the man-made world that we're in. And the Bible records in Proverbs that once that is not tended to, and once that the vineyard and the things that he saw from the sluggish, slothful people, when that's not tended to, the Bible recorded in Proverbs that it was then growed up with thorns and thistles. Thorns and thistles. And over there's 100 and some types of thorns and thistles that grow over there in the Holy Land. And when they grow and knot up into this god-awful mess and grow out into a thicket, it is like crazy impossible to get that cleared out and back to usable. So the efforts of letting it go cost them way more later trying to get it back. But the one thing we can't get back tonight is our time. We cannot get time back. I would hate to ever be in the position, and I know it happens. I know this happens a lot. How many people you think sit in a funeral home and see that body in that casket thinking, I should have went. I should have went and talked to him. I should have went and visited. I should have went down there. I should have went. We can't do anything about it then. There's nothing to turn around. You're the light of the world. We talked about this last week in the dark. You are the light of the world. City on a light that's set on a hill. We're the only thing that's the arms, legs, feet, the body moving. Everything God strengthened was in doing something. Feet placed in, gird up, get ready to go. We're moving. Time is going by. The church is still going. God's plan is still being enacted and fulfilled right now, with or without you. Is that not true?
Yep.
The church still goes until he comes back, with or without you. But the effects that we're seeing and having on churches and how much they've changed in just a few short years has got a lot to do with procrastination. I'm tired. I've just worked all week. I'm tired. I'll wait. We'll go to church next week.
I got too old.
Got too old. Can't do it. There's always, you can have an excuse for anything. We can have any excuse we want. And for us, it's acceptable to us. But what's God say about that? What's God say about that? I've always wondered when people sit there and look back and regret not doing things, that's the person holding onto the plow saying that's one of them. I always call that the people in the place of they want to be on fire, But all they're seeing is everything that just passed by them that they never done and they never dealt with and they never took care of. They never resolved. They never came back to the spot they should have been. They never fixed a problem. And they're looking back at all that back there saying, I wish I would have done it. You're not fit for the kingdom of heaven, is what the Lord said. You're not even fit to be hoeing the row, setting it out, to be planting seeds, as we'll call it, for the kingdom. Because procrastination has caused so much of this. Anybody else got anything to say?
Satan does not procrastinate.
He's quick. He's quick.
Well, you talk about the Jehovah's Witness and the Mormons.
Mm-hmm.
Satan has presented a lie.
Yep.
Type of religion, and it's similar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the Mormons believe in Jesus, but it's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
They're spreading a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Because they believe you can be saved without having a faith experience.
Yeah.
So that's a lie that the devil is presented,
Mm-hmm.
and they're walking their feet off, like you say, trying to get people to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Same way with Jehovah's Witness. It's
Mm-hmm.
a lie.
Yeah.
So Satan does not procrastinate at
Mm-hmm.
all.
Yep.
It's, you know, speaking of, I've been really troubled since over the last couple of days. We laid a man to rest yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Not one of the family can tell me whether or not they knew if he was saved.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you can't tell me that,
You
tell
didn't
me
ask.
one thing.
Yeah.
You ain't never asked.
Mm-mm. No.
And I'm not knocking them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that's a common thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because a lot of times, you know, especially family members, people have a hard time for some reason speaking to them
Mm-hmm.
and seeing where they're at.
Yeah.
Have a hard time. You know, so I mean there's nothing else I can tell you. If they don't know, then they've not asked.
Right.
I mean, because you're gonna get an answer one way or the other, right?
Right. You'll
You
know.
ask somebody whether they're saved or not.
You'll
They'll
know.
tell you no or yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're gonna know. So we do procrastinate, and that is, you know, unfortunately, we're allowing a lot of people to slip through the cracks into hell that we're not concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Satan don't procrastinate.
Mm-hmm.
He's head on his mission to take everybody he can with him. And
Even though he knows he's losing.
and he's presented the facade, and
Yeah.
it looks good
Yeah.
on the surface.
Yeah.
I mean, Mormonism, it looks like it's a real thing, but when you dive into it, you'll see that, you know, they believe that walking around in people's houses is what saves them.
Good works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it has nothing to do with the gospel convicting their heart and them believing in their heart to the saving of their soul.
Mm-hmm.
They don't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And we understand that without that,
Mm-hmm.
you're lost.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I just wanted to add those couple of things.
The more that people procrastinate reading the Bible,
Yeah.
the more change we see in the church. It's all over land and country. People are bringing things into the church that don't even line up with the church's beliefs, and they don't know it. They don't even know and realize it and see it, and they're bringing it right through the door in apparently not a intentional, meaning way to do wrong, but they don't know apparently that what's before them is not allowed, acceptable, or approved by the book, not by anybody in the building, the book. there's several things that we go into dealing with procrastinating that, and as Steve mentioned, you think about who has the greatest effect on you. If someone come and talk to you, who has the most effect on you?
Somebody you have confidence.
All day long. Yeah. And if that's the one coming, you're going to listen. You might not do what they say, but you're going to listen. You can procrastinate and say, no, I'll get saved later, or I'll come to church next sometime. They can. But that effect has way more effect, number one, coming from that person. Two, any effect because you went to them than to not go to them at all. And the abuse of not using our highly advanced technology is bad. If you don't want to call them because you don't know if they're at work or busy or whatever else, send them, if you know they text, send them a message. These people are messaging everybody all day and in and out. They will look at it. They may not respond, but that's fine. But the problem that I'm seeing more than anything is we've gotten to, people's got, I think, really to the belief that technology can do our work. So that's the AI side. Technology can do our work. Well, if it can do that for us in the world and it can do all of our stuff on GPT, then it can get people saved. It can spread the gospel. It can share it through an app. It can give it to people. Think about it. That's what we're getting in our mind placed.
You know,
It won't work.
goes back to what I preached Sunday.
Mhm.
That's one of the biggest lies that we're facing. I mean, Teresa saw something today. I don't know if it was Fox News about this. They have this study now about AI.
Yeah.
And it's causing severe mental issues.
There's been suicides. Yeah.
Delusional mental
Yes.
problems and
Yes.
issues. And people are suffering so bad
Mhm.
because that they have allowed this to affect them in such a manner, and they look at that stuff and digest that stuff
Yeah.
constantly.
And it's to them, it's real.
You know, as Christians, we need to leave that stuff alone.
Mm-hmm.
We need to separate ourselves from it. And you know, it's causing very, very great problems, and it's, you know, and it's all created by Satan.
Mhm.
There again, he don't procrastinate. He's using everything he can to destroy, kill, and you know, so you know, really need to be careful.
If you start witnessing to people, you know what they'll call you? A Bible thumper. They call them the Bible. Yeah, call them the Bible thumper. But if you think about it, a lot of people, what keeps us from doing it? I think one is fear. Whether it's we're afraid we're going to get rejected, afraid something's going to happen, there's going to be something we can't resolve, or they're going to ask the question that I don't know. That's I think a lot of that's fear that comes up of why some people don't go talk to people or approach them or won't do it. I think there's a place there that is a hold on us that causes us to put it off. And when we do that, a lot of times we also can tell that after we've went and approached and said something to somebody, they're now acting different around us. Well, that should be right. There should be a separation right there. The minute that you've drawn the line on them to tell them just exactly where they stand by the book, not your opinion, but by the book, where they're at, how they're living, where they stand, and where they're headed, that should separate them right there. That you should automatically know and feel that there's a difference between you. You should know right there there's a separation in the situation. They'll feel it, know it, because the mind's going to start getting troubled somewhere. Yeah. But how easy we don't do these simple things. You can call and talk to people about cars, ball games, mowing the yard, and what the weather's doing. No problem. You bring this book up one time and you watch people. They're like a recluse, drawing back. They won't do it. They won't do it. We got very comfortable with that. That's what worries me more than anything is how comfortable we have gotten to just, when we get to it, we'll do it. I'll do it when I can. Whenever I feel like that I get the time to do it, I'll do it. And the problem is we're not getting none of that back. None of that's coming back at all. Anybody else got anything to know?
I was just sitting here counting back 45 years ago. My little brother told me, I told him he's crazy. He said, you'll be able to sit in your living room and look at someone in Florida or California and talk to them. I said, you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's 45 years.
Mm-hmm.
here recently. He's crazy again. He said you'll be able to transfer. Tell her. Crazy.
Yeah.
So maybe I said wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. And we use it. You FaceTime and talk to Tracy and them in Florida.
Yeah.
So
See them
we
right
use
there.
it. We adapt. Anything around us, we adapt. We are adaptable people. But how much we're adapting to is what worries me more than anything. You know that's why that these churches, I see all these churches with the pastoral search. They're looking for people to pastor, and they put on there and identify that they're a soul winning church and they are mission minded. And then when they say what they want in a pastor in these other states, I'm talking Minnesota, Nebraska, all these places, Pennsylvania. One of the things they get on there is that the pastor knows how to build and grow the church. It's all over the place. See, we've come to a revolting revelation, apparently, that society feels like that nobody's job is to win people except the pastor. His job is to win the people. That's an easy way for me to be able to procrastinate and say, just come to church and he'll tell you. Don't worry about that. Steve will tell you Sunday. We ain't gonna waste no time talking about it today. Well, you got 5 days for church. You'll be fine till then. Just come Sunday and he'll tell you. That's how complacent we are adapting and adjusting to things. That's why the churches are nothing like they were 20, 30 years ago. What was not accepted then and would never have been tolerated, how much of it goes on today? These churches right now, I will not be going in and I will not be participating because what they allow ain't happening. I don't care that they're missionary Baptist or whatever Baptist they are, whatever, I don't care. They ain't doing, and the funny thing was, they wasn't doing that 25 years ago. They didn't, they did, that wasn't allowed. We didn't do that. But now, it's practiced. And that shows me people adapting, how simple that it is for people to infract the mind. All from the lack of this. Proverbs 14:14 says that the backslider in heart shall be filled with his own ways. He'll be filled with his own ways. And a good man shall be satisfied from himself. All the day long, we're putting way too much off getting it done. And if we do it at home with simple things, the dishes, the laundry, and what else, you'll do it. You'll put off reading the Bible. I want to catch this show. I want to watch the news. I want to run out and mow the yard before it gets dark, whatever. Well, what if the Lord's trying to put you in the seat to read the Bible to keep you from flipping the mower off over and killing yourself out there? What if he's trying to intervene and get you to do something that gets you out of harm's way and you say, I can do that later. I can do that later. That happens. I believe it. I believe that happens. I believe it happens a lot. Anybody else got anything tonight?
I have one more thought about what you said about the ads. I started to say men, but they're not necessarily men that, they allow anything anymore. But ads for pastors to build churches,
Yeah.
and that's not necessarily centered on trying to win people to the Lord as far as your salvation is concerned.
Numbers.
Get people in the church to have crowds.
Yeah.
More crowds, bigger the money. All these types of things. So,
Yep.
That's kind of where we're at.
Yep. That's very true. Anybody else got anything tonight? Roger Gibbons has been real quiet tonight. Have y'all noticed that? He's getting real quiet now. I don't know what's happening.
Who is?
Roger. He just said a few words.
Got a lot on my mind.
He's got a lot on his mind. Anybody else got anything tonight?